take from my bed to the floor. 5, 6, 7, 8. Will today be rough or will today be great? 9, 10, 11, 12. Lately I've been going through hell. 13, 14, 15, 16. Today's the day. Are you coming? Are you sick of being normal? I'm sick of being average. I'm sick of being mortal. I'm about to be a savage. I see a lot of things that I want, I will have them. I got a new mindset that I just established. I'll march through the cold with the nails on the pavement. I'll shovel that coal just to get out the basement. My story will be told, helping others make changes. I'll be so bold, they will watch in amazement.
Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it? Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it?
Foot up on the pedal, pushing hard to the metal. Make a deal with the devil. Channel rage through my vessel into something that is special. Energy of a rebel, going up a level. I just wanna be greatness. I could feel changes, turn a new page and tie up my laces. I will be the bravest, break out of my cages. I will not be nameless, I will not be aimless.
Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it? Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it?
What's going on, guys? What is going on? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 218. I'm excited because tonight we got first-time guest in the building, Joey Cusick. Is that how you say your last name, by the way? Cusick.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. Actually, I should have asked you even before. But so Joey is I actually just met Joe like a few weeks ago, like a month ago, but he's a good friend of my my buddy Joel, who's been on here before. It's been a while since Joel's been on here, but Joel's a good dude. I got to talk to Joe a few weeks ago. He kind of shared some of his story with me, so I'm excited to get him on here tonight and talk to you guys. Basically, we're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. It's just going to be kind of free flowing, but what we'll talk about is like he grew up here, like hometown, like, Philadelphia, moved out to Oklahoma a few years ago, with a little bit of money in his pocket. He's out there trying to build a legacy now. So excited to have you on here, brother.
Yeah, appreciate the invite, man. Happy to be here. Excited. First podcast I'm doing, and honored to be on.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. So guys, we'll hop right into it. Like I said, going to be real free flowing here tonight. I'll just go through the quick announcements, obviously, just right before we go through through everything. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to turn notifications on if you like content related to either personal development or sports. We go live every single week, so if you like that type of content, you don't want to miss it, hit that notification bell. If you're watching on Facebook, I'm assuming you're already part of the community in the group because it's the only way you can stream it, so thank you for that. Still, hit that like button. It really, really helps us out. And then if you see anything that you want to chime in on tonight, you want to contribute to the conversation, we genuinely appreciate that. So comment down below. On YouTube, I can throw your comments on the screen. Facebook, because of meta privacy concerns, I can only read them out loud, but I'll still read your comment. I have Facebook up over here, so I can monitor that, but I can see your YouTube comments as they come in. I'll throw them right up on the screen. With that being said, guys, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast. Cool. All right, man. So we can just jump into it. So, like I said, guys, me and Joe, we talked a few weeks ago. His story is really, really inspiring, and I guess we can just start. So hometown, you were born and raised out here, Philadelphia, East Coast.
Yep.
Then you moved out to Oklahoma around COVID, right?
Yeah, a little bit before COVID. So I moved out here July of 2019, and then we got locked down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I think it was actually St. Patty's Day 2020.
Wow.
So it's just like a few, what's that, 6-7 months after I moved down here. It was just really, really crazy experience, man. Just like uprooted my entire life. All my family friends are back in Northeast Philly, like South Jersey area. But one of my childhood friends moved to Tulsa a few years before I did, and he kept telling me about it. He's like, man, it's just a really gorgeous place. Like the people are super friendly. Like it, the way he was describing Tulsa and like how community centric it is reminded me a lot of how my grandparents talked about how Philly was when they were growing up as kids. Everyone's looking out for one another. People like genuinely want to see you succeed. And, the Philly that I grew up in was much different than that. Everyone's out for themselves. Like everyone's like out there grinding or, working on their dreams or pretending to work on their dreams, or just like stuck in whatever rat race that they're stuck in. And, honestly, I left Philly because like I felt like I was kind of stagnating, just moving in circles. I was driving from Northeast Philly up to Conshohocken like 6 days a week. So it's like anywhere from 45 minutes to a 90-minute commute each way. So that was probably the first big shock of moving to Tulsa, is that like everything's only 15, 20 minutes away. Like to locals in Tulsa, if something's 20 minutes away, they're like, oh, no, that's too far. Like we can't go there. It's too far. Like, what do you mean it's too far? It takes 20 minutes just to get to 95 in the Northeast. And then it takes like another 20, 30 minutes to get to somewhere. Oh yeah, man. So I've been out here July 2019 and I've been loving it. Honestly, came down here with the intention of staying a year, maybe 2, and then either going back to Philly or honestly, the initial plan was like after doing a year or 2 in Tulsa was like maybe buying a van and like traveling the country a little bit.
Okay.
But then met a girl down here and been here ever since. So.
Hey man, that's God's plan, man. You go out there and then it's that's awesome, man. That's amazing, man. Congratulations to you and your fiance as well, man.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Yeah. I know, man. As soon as I hear that Conshohocken Philly commute, I'm just like, sure. It's like anywhere out there, like King of Prussia, any of that. It's like during rush hour traffic. It doesn't even seem that far, like distance wise, but it's like when you hit that rush hour traffic, 76, any of that stuff.
Right, I tell you, like it's a nice ride, but you get stuck on 76 and you got to go to the bathroom real bad, and you're bumper to bumper, and like you better have a Gatorade bottle in the car or a bag or something. But yeah, that was one too many times stuck in traffic.
Yeah, man. No, I can imagine. But yeah, no. So I was literally even gonna, because I know we had talked about it, but I was gonna ask you. I was gonna say what was the reason you kind of like wanted to go out there. But yeah, the feeling of feeling kind of like stuck and just like needing like a change of environment. People I know that have like I personally haven't, but I know people like that have also like left their hometown, like other spots. They always like, I never really have heard anybody who's like ever left their hometown that said, I wish I never did. You know what I mean? They always say that it was one of the best decisions they ever made because it kind of allowed them to get outside their comfort zone. And, it kind of lights the fire under you.
It really does, man. It's like, I honestly think it's a cheat code in life. I mean, I'm not saying like everyone needs to do it, because like if you got a good situation, you got a good circle of people, and like, I had a great circle of people around me in Philly, very loving family, very, very loving friends. But like, even though I still felt like, I had all that, it just, I got stuck in this rut that I felt like I couldn't shake. And then, just ripped the Band-Aid off. I probably shouldn't have went when I did, because I think I had like $1,000 to my name, and, had a lot of student debt, like, I think like 15, 20 grand on my car. Went with no job lined up and like a $400 rent commitment when I got down to Tulsa. And then I think I spent like maybe $200 my first 2 days in Tulsa, just like eating out. So yeah, talk about like needing to figure out stuff very quickly. Like I need to figure things out quickly. And then like, I'm not going to lie, I struggled for a little bit. And then, when COVID hit, it's like, I'm screwed, man. Like, I'm going to have to go back to Philly. Like, I'm not going to be able to afford to be out here. And then just so happened, like, I was able to get, like, on unemployment for a little bit. And that really set me up. And that's, like, I just started, like, I was able to get another job, and then did that for 6 months, and then found the nonprofit that I currently work for, and have been working there for, like, 5 years now. So, like, it's crazy to think that COVID, like, kind of worked out for me. But yeah, dude, it's just like a wild ride. Like, never know how things are going to turn out.
Absolutely. And that's incredible, man. I feel like, God makes a way. You know what I mean? He does. He makes a way. So like you said, like, you're just like, it's just like you never knew a pandemic was going to hit, 6-7 months after you leave where you've lived, the area you've lived your whole life. You move across the country to the Midwest, and then like you couldn't like prepare for that. There's nobody that would have ever known. It's just random circumstances that, but I give you massive credit, man. It takes a lot of balls to do that, man. And it takes a lot of patience and resilience, man. Like you said, you struggled for a little bit, but you still stayed committed. You stayed there. You didn't like run back. Like I give you massive credit, man.
Thank you. Yeah. It was hard. It was hard. It was definitely helpful, like, having cell phones and FaceTime and everything, so I could call back.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that like my goal for that year was like try and talk to a loved one for at least like an hour every single day. So that definitely made moving to Tulsa feel a lot easier, and it made the family and friends feel a lot closer than they actually were, because we're like 1,300 miles almost exactly away from Philly. We're right in the middle of the country, just like the state right above Texas. But yeah, dude, it's like just like anything else. It's like you're in a bad enough or a weird enough situation, like your back's against the wall, you got to figure it out. Fortunately, I lived with 2 buddies down here when I first moved down here, and it was really cool and really helpful for me because they were both pursuing things that they loved. So like just getting around people that like love what they did every day made a huge difference, because in Philly, like I had a lot of friends who were aspiring to do things, but then like weren't actively working on them, and then just like kind of got stuck in the 9 to 5. But then my 2 buddies down here, like, one guy started his own nonprofit. Another guy like was a chef, and just like seeing those dudes, like, oh shit, like dudes my age are like actively working on something that they love on a day-to-day basis. And I think that just like type of excitement and passion just like definitely transferred over to me. I'm like, okay, I just like got to figure out my thing and just start pursuing that.
100%. Yeah. I feel like it, like I was saying, it puts that fire inside of you because you got like-minded people around you, right, that are trying to grow, they're trying to evolve. And it's no diss to the people here, but it's like, hey, if everyone's like stuck in a rut as well, it feels like if you're around those people a lot, I feel like it's just you're all gonna kind of get stuck in the same cycle. I agree with you. It was a change of scenery, a change of environment, and just being around. Like I said, I'm sure you still have relationships and friendships with, like you said, people back here because you had a great circle of friends. But it was necessary, you felt, to make that change, to make that leap, and to change up the environment. I respect that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, because my philosophy was like I knew Philly wasn't going anywhere. Like my parents weren't going anywhere. My brother wasn't going anywhere. Nieces and nephews, like we're all going to stay there. The majority of my friends were staying in the area. So it's like, yeah, worst case scenario, I take a 1 to 2 year like leap of faith, go try something out. And if it doesn't work, then I go back to like everything that I knew has worked out in the past, with just like hopefully a different set of eyes from different set of experience. But yeah, man, I never once in my life did I ever think I would be living in Oklahoma. And never like did I think I would actually like love living in a smaller city. Like, yeah, it's got like a little bit over 1 million people here, so it's like what, maybe 8 times smaller than Philly is. So like until you're actually in a city of that size, like we have all the amenities. Like the first thing I get asked anytime I come back to Philly is like, oh, do you got McDonald's down there, or you got Walmart? It's like, people who ask those questions clearly never leave or never travel. It's like if you drive into like in the middle of the woods, like they got stuff all over the country. It's like a lot of the country looks very similar, unfortunately, with the Walmarts and whatnot. But
capitalistic society, man.
It really is. It's just like, the cookie cutter shopping malls and stuff. It's like, all right, we got the Walmart, we got the car dealership, we got the McDonald's, the Burger King, the Wendy's. Here's the Dollar Tree, and then like, it's all.
If anything, it'll just be more spread out. That's all. But they're still there.
But it's, dude, I just fell in love with like. I didn't realize how much time I actually was spending in a car when I was in Philly, like driving to Conshohocken. Like, you make do, you call people, you listen to audiobooks, you kind of like, for a while I was turning my car into a classroom while I was in Philly, just trying to like learn as much as I could. But it's like, moving to Oklahoma, I just had like so many hours of my life back to just like do literally anything else. And it's like, it's hard to describe. It's such like a weird, amazing feeling. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have to live in bumper to bumper traffic for 3 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah. I can imagine that releases a lot of stress off you, because there's nothing worse than commuting in like a city. It's the worst. I don't know anybody who enjoys it. It's hours out of your day because you have to go to your job to make money. It's not, you know what I mean? And you're usually working for someone else. I mean, unless some people, you have your own business and stuff, but yeah, man, I don't see anything exciting about that at all. I'm very blessed that I can work remote, but I also understand that I probably won't be working remote the rest of my life. My ultimate goal is to create my own business too, but it's like, I don't miss commuting at all. Like commuting is it's just hours wait. Like you said, you can do things productive. You can listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook. But still, it's like eventually, like you're doing this every day. So it's like, you got to find ideas to, to keep yourself sane. But I can imagine the release of stress, having all those hours added back into your day. I can just imagine.
Yeah, it was great, man. It's pretty funny because I was also guilty of this before I moved down here. Like Oklahoma, it's like nothing but tornadoes and trailer parks down there, ain't it? And like, just so ignorant because like, growing up in the Northeast, I knew absolutely nothing about Oklahoma.
Right.
But like there's a lot of history here, man. In 2017, I actually visited for the first time, and like me and my buddy we drove from Philly. And we're like, oh, we're pretty close to Tulsa according to the GPS. And then like off in the distance, we could see like a really nice skyline with like high rises and stuff. And we're like, oh, I wonder what city that is. Like, and we get closer. It's like, oh shoot, that's Tulsa. It's like, we weren't expecting like Oklahoma to have a big city like this, but it's like, I don't know what we were expecting, but it's like the second biggest city in the state. So it's
right. I was actually gonna ask you that. I was gonna ask you what kind of make you choose Oklahoma. So you had visited before. Okay, that makes a little bit sense.
Yeah, I visited. So like my childhood buddy moved down here for Teach for America, and then while he was in Teach for America, he realized that like Teach for America, if you're not aware of what that is, they recruit like a lot of Ivy League people to come into like low income areas to help educate. So they typically do like anywhere from 1 to 3 years of teaching in the community. So my buddy's another dude who was born and raised in Philly, like went to University of Penn. Apologize if you can hear my dogs right now. There's a cat outside. But yeah, when my buddy moved down here, he realized that like all the Teach for America people were like getting these private tours around town, and they were having access to just like a bunch of resources in the community that a lot of their students didn't have. So him and one of our other buddies, like they were both teachers at the time, they started this nonprofit called Tulsa Changemakers, which was really just about building civic capacity and leadership opportunities for children in the community. So they started that, ran it for 8 years, and then they got they moved under like another big nonprofit, and then they both left, and Changemakers is still like a thing to this day, which is great. They've had thousands of kids go through it, and the city of Tulsa now even has because of the Tulsa Changemakers, they now have a like youth advisory council to the mayor's office, like in the city of Tulsa. So instead of just having like a bunch of adults in the room thinking like, oh, what should we do that impacts the youth of the city? Like they're now just asking children representatives, like, hey, what do you think we should do with like this amount of money? So it was just really cool to see, my buddies kind of work on that and develop that, and just like the connections that they made through that, and open my eyes up into working in the realm of nonprofit. So I got linked up with a nonprofit I work for maybe about a year after I moved to Tulsa, and just like fell in love with serving the community, because like it really does take a village, and like there's a lot of people that need help and everything. And it's just like, it's really weird how life works, because like when I was working in finance and like focus on like, oh, how can I make as much money as possible, was the poorest I ever was in my life. And then working for the nonprofit, where like the salaries and the income isn't really that great, but my focus just became like, how do I serve and how do I help as many people as possible, is like I then became like the richest I've ever been in my life, and just like fell in love with helping the community and just like working hard and like trying to serve as many people. And this week we actually crossed over, like, so the project that I serve, we just crossed over like serving 12,600 clients and over $61 million in financial impact to the Tulsa community over a 4-year period of this project. So it's just been crazy to see, like, just like keeping your head down, focus on like helping people get access to healthcare, like, helping them not go hungry, and just like diverting costs and expenses. We've been able to, help almost 13,000 people, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely incredible. I think people, they tend to, people don't always see until they do it, but it's like the rewards that you get just from giving back and helping people. It's like, it's something that's like completely priceless. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like you're going home, like knowing you did something like meaningful, something that brought meaning to you, in your life, and inspiration for sure. Versus like you said, not saying there's not meaningful work in Philadelphia or anything like that, but it's like, if you're doing something that like, you really don't love, or it's like, it's something that it just kind of feels more so monotonous. It's not really, it's very monotonous. Like, it's like, versus like something that, or monotonous or routine, versus like something that it fills your soul. Like it makes you, you know what I mean? It's so rewarding.
Absolutely, man. And like, I think another reason it was so like rewarding and fulfilling for me, because like, I've had a history, like struggle with depression in like, several different periods of my life. And I forget where I heard it from, but I learned that like the best way to get out of like a depressive episode is to like try to focus on like helping someone else. And that really is what worked for me. Cause like I tried, a bunch of other things that didn't work for me. And it's like, okay, I know it won't work for everybody. I know everyone's like, healing journey is unique to themselves, but like, if anyone out there is like going through any mental health issues and you haven't tried like, volunteering and serving your community, like even just like picking up trash in your neighborhood, like, if you got some rubber gloves and a trash bag, like that might just make you feel like you're doing something a little bit bigger than yourself. And that could help, pull you out of it. So like it worked for me, and it's, been keeping those demons at bay.
Yep. It's it makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself, like you're making an impact. Because I've dealt with like anxiety through my life, or like times of like, where I feel like my routine, like everything in my life sometimes, gets monotonous, and like and that can cause low mood too. Like it's just, you feel like you're stuck in like the, like kind of like a rut. You're stuck in like the flow of everyday life. You're just going with the flow. You're going with the, like, yeah, you're going to work, you're going to the gym, doing this, but you're doing the same things like every day. It's like just changing up your routine. Like you said, if you're not somebody who's volunteering or serving, something like Joe said, as simple as just getting a pair of rubber gloves and just picking up trash. It can be anything that could just change the trajectory of the things you're doing, but also doing something great for your community. I think sometimes people are scared, like a little bit of afraid to put themselves out there. I have some buddies like that, like that I've like invited to volunteer and stuff, and I get kind of, with the sense that I get is like they're afraid to kind of put themselves out there. But I'm like, once you like just do it once, like, and you realize everybody's coming together for the same cause. Like I have a neighbor, he runs a group called the Angels at Christmas. I think they may have just recently changed the name, but he's been running this nonprofit for years. They don't just do stuff at Christmas, but year round. But around the holidays, they're big with like getting meals for families. They're like low income, like, and what they do is they get names through the local churches of families that are low income and struggling, and they'll get a list, like, and depending on how big the family is, some families will get like 2 baskets of food, some will get 1, depending on the size. And then at Christmas, they ask the kids to make a list, if they have kids, of gifts. And the people will make donations, and they'll go out and get the gifts for the kids and everything. It's really, really cool. But just doing like Joe said, like just being a part of that, like it makes me feel great, because I know that like I'm literally just giving my time to be part of something bigger than me, and it feels great. Like, so it doesn't even have to be volunteering with an organization, though. It could just be something like Joe said, just cleaning up your neighborhood, something small. Whatever feels, good to you,
Yeah, man. And I have a very embarrassing story about like trying to volunteer in Tulsa when I first moved here. So there's this organization in town called Up With Trees, and they, like, their whole goal is to just plant as many trees and bushes in Tulsa County as they can. Which is like, I love the environment. I grew up right across the street from Pennypack Park in Philly. Used to walk in it every day. But unless I know people or like know someone that's like going to an event or something, I'm pretty shy, and it takes me a little bit to open up to folks. So it's like, all right, I'm committing. I'm going to this thing. Like, I want to help plant some trees, like have some landscaping experience, like down for the cause, And then, so I pull up to the spot. Like, I was a little late. Was probably a little hungover that morning. And they were right across the street from a McDonald's doing work. But I just got like such a like nervous stomach of like meeting people new, or just like, because I showed up late, I was embarrassed. Steve, I straight up, like, I was like, yeah, I can't do it. So like, I went inside the McDonald's, ordered food, and just like sat in my car, ate the McDonald's, and just like watched people volunteering, because I just like, I was too embarrassed to say like, hey, like, I'm new, or like, I'm too embarrassed that like I'm showing up a little late. So like, I haven't found anyone that like has an equally embarrassing story when it comes to trying to volunteer. So like, if I can get over doing something as stupid and silly as that, then I feel like other people can like overcome. And like, one of the things I did to help me get a little bit more comfortable with like talking to new people is I started it when I was in Philly and like, you know, slowly start doing it in Tulsa too. It's like I try to walk almost every day.
Right.
And if I see people like on the walking trail or like in the neighborhood, I'm just saying hi to them, just like smiling, saying hi. And
Right.
like that was something that helped me just like slowly start becoming like a little bit more extroverted and just like comfortable around strangers.
100%. Yeah, man. I appreciate you sharing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like that. Yeah, man. So like, yeah, you overcame it. So exactly. It's like it's okay to like have like setbacks like that. You know what I mean? It's you know, we're all human beings at the end of the day. I never had it with volunteering, but I did have it when I graduated college. To get my first real like finance job, like in my field and stuff. I was working overnights at Lowe's, and my first job that I got out of college was at a call center, Merrill Lynch, and Bank of America. I did it for a few months, and then I wound up going back to Lowe's, mainly because I thought like I was like, I don't want to be in a call center, but also I didn't really like. I stopped like kind of like applying to jobs in my field almost out of like a fear type of thing. Like it was internal. Like I had to catch myself and been like, yeah, while that job might not have been for me, I kind of got very comfortable with like, you know, going back and like working overnights and stuff. But I was like, I knew like this isn't going to be my career. Like I gotta man up and do this. Like, and I realized it was out of fear. I'm like, you know, putting my like fear of failure in like that role. And like I didn't have an internship in school, so I appreciate the transparency, man, because I'm likewise. I always try to be very transparent on this podcast with people because I want somebody to like understand that. Like some people go, "Oh, you run a podcast. Oh, you must be confident." I was like, if you see like the first episode we ever did, like I used to run it with my buddy George. The first episode we ever did of this podcast, you could tell we were nervous. Like we definitely did not have this podcast together. It takes time. Like it's, you know, but eventually you get over those things. Like. And you start to, as you do it more and you put yourself out there and you embrace the failure or the fear of embarrassment, you know, you start to get over those things. And I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Of course, dude. And it takes time, you know, like we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes at different areas of life. And I feel like it's like failure isn't really talked about enough when it comes into like direct relation to success. Yeah. So like, you're not going to be successful without learning how to manage the failure first. Yeah. And I just like, I'm the type of person that like, I'm pretty good at like getting around the right people. And like, I feel like my closest friends have always just been like way smarter than me, way more athletic, way like better looking than I am. So, but I learned about myself. It's like, okay, you know, if I'm not as smart, if I'm not as, you know, strong or fast or whatever, like it's just going to take me more reps to get good at something. So it's like, I know that a lot of things I do, I'm going to suck at something for the first like 50 to 100 times I'm doing it. Yep. You know, once I get into that triple digits of like doing a repetitive task or just like, you know, the muscle memory kicks in, it's like, okay, now I know I'm going to start finding my stride. And it's just like finding those things in those areas of like, what are you willing to look foolish at for a while and before you get good at? So like another example, two quick examples. Like when I was in school, it took me a while to like learn how to read properly because I had such like, I don't know if you guys did this where you went to school, but like we would do that like popcorn style reading. So it's like, you know, someone would read a paragraph, teacher would call on the next person or a student would call on like someone else. And like, I had such debilitating stage fright from that it made me just like completely shut down and like hate reading and stuff. So I was like really behind the reading grade levels by the time I graduated 8th grade. And then like, you know, now I'm reading probably 30 to 50 books a year. I'm a little bit behind this year, but I'll pick it back up before the end of the year. And also like public speaking. Like a lot of people have that fear. And like I used to have to like run to the bathroom and like physically get sick before I would give a presentation. And now it's like, yeah, it's just talking to people in its most simple elements. It's like I've been talking to people my whole life. I can talk to someone.
Exactly. And it's like how I try to see failure now is like what's the worst thing that happens? I learned something from it. Like I learned something from it. You know what I mean? That's amazing. 30 to 50 books a year, man. I need to get on your level. You're like reading like CEO level, man. Like almost like they say CEOs read like what, like 50 to
4 or
60.
5 bucks a month. Yeah.
Yeah, like almost like 50 to 60 a year. Man, that's incredible. I've been getting back to like my audiobook journey, but then like I have friends that are always recommending like great books. And I'm like, I add them to my list, but I'm like, I still have books that I'm finishing like as I'm going through.
Bro, I'm the same way. I don't know what's been wrong with me this year because like normally I start the year off really strong. There's like 5 or 6 books that I normally always read like in the month of January. And just like I didn't do that, and just like I feel like messed up the rhythm of the year with reading. So like I probably read maybe 10 books so far this year, but I've only finished like 2 or 3 of them. So I've just been like, I don't know. I feel like my attention span with reading has been really bad this year, but I got to get that locked back in.
Yeah, man. Likewise, man. Hey, man, 10's more than probably most people, man. That's how I see it. Is like if you look at like the average people, they like the average of what most people, it's like it's more than that. But right, it's like
the average person reads 1 book for the rest of their life after they graduate high school, which is insane.
I told somebody that actually on a podcast a few weeks ago, and like my buddy couldn't believe that. He had to like look it up. He's like, dude, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, dude, like I saw that. It was like 1 or 2 books the rest of their life. Like, it's crazy. But obviously, like that's the thing. It's like in a good way or bad way. I feel like we always talk that here on the podcast too, in a way of comparison. It's like, so we either feel like we're not doing enough because of social media, or we feel like like sometimes we compare and the standards that we compare to, we're like, well, they're doing this, and it's like, well, do you want to be like that person, or do you want to be average, or do you want to be best? So it's like there's like a good middle ground, but it's like just going back to your point, like public speaking, different things. It's like I hated giving like presentations, man. Like it's like I hated it. Like it was in college, I had to give a 15-minute presentation. It was a communications course, so everybody had to do it. It was called a crisis presentation, and you had to present. I think I talked about the NFL concussion protocol with CTE. So I had a good topic. I got a good topic, which was good. It was 15 minutes, and for this one, you couldn't use any visual aids, so you weren't allowed to use like a PowerPoint, nothing. And like I was so used to like not just reading off of it, but having those aids were so helpful in presentations, where this one you couldn't look at anything. And I literally like missed one of the classes where I was supposed to do it. And I just kept postponing it. My teacher, eventually I had to do it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this was in college, this was in Temple. And I eventually did it, and I felt so nervous like doing it, and I thought I did horrible. I was like, I was horrible. I thought I was shaking. I felt like, and then somebody told me, they're like, yo, your presentation was like, after class, like they were like, yo, your presentation was like great, dude. Like, it's like, where did you prepare? So I feel like sometimes we're our harshest critic.
Absolutely.
We are our harshest critic, and we don't even recognize. That gave me confidence too, but I'm like, I got better after that though. Like I knew, what am I gonna do? Fail this class because I'm not gonna do this? Like I gotta do it eventually. You can only postpone it so long. So
I do. Some people do that. I remember there's this one girl I went to college with that, like, she should have graduated 2 years before she did because she was so afraid of public speaking. That like that was the only thing. She had like 3 communications classes that she had to do, and the one class we were in together, it was like a group like presentation communications class. So she's like, okay, great, like I can graduate. But then one of the assignments, the professor threw us a curveball and was like, hey, like we're going to break this group project up into 4 smaller things, so everyone's going to have to present individually. Like, and she straight up dropped the class, and like I never saw her again, which is really crazy because like super intelligent, super competent, just afraid to have the eyes on her, which is, wishing her all the best, but like that's just insane. But I totally get it though too, man. It's like I understand both sides of it. It's like I understand the fear, the anxiety, and not being able to like calm yourself, like to get through it. Fortunately for me though, whenever I would get through it, I would just have a wave of just like relief and feeling so much better after just like ripping the Band-Aid off. Good, bad, or ugly, like you get it out of the way. It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yep. even in work too, like if I have to present on something like it feels good, but if it comes more natural to me now, but still like if there's stuff I'm presenting on, like I work in finance, like numbers and stuff, it's like there's, you're presenting to people like above you, and it's like, it's gonna be nerve wracking, but you feel so good when you're done it, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's I think the best thing you can do in terms of like public speaking is just prepare. If you're nervous, but prepare like none other.
Yeah.
That's going to help you the best. But I feel like sometimes, and I've done this in the past too, we procrastinate because we don't want to. It's almost like we self-sabotage.
Absolutely.
Self-sabotage for sure. So if you catch yourself doing that, you have to catch yourself. And the best thing you can do is just like just prepare. And at the end of the day, you're just gonna let the chips fall where they may. And at the end of the day, even if you feel embarrassed, or I think that's one of the biggest things is my mentor told me this. He's like, people would rather, instead of achieving like great things, sometimes they'd rather not feel pain or embarrassment. So do anything they can to avoid feeling pain. Similar to like embarrassment, than achieving great things or taking a risk, because they don't want to face that pain.
Yeah, man. You're talking to a major procrastinator. I've gotten a lot better since I've gotten out of college, but there's still things that I need to get better at with the procrastination. But like, I think my worst time in college with it was like, I had an 8-page paper due on a Friday. I didn't start writing it until like maybe 3 a.m. that Friday morning. And like, it was due at 8 a.m. I didn't start writing it until 3. And then I think I got like maybe 6.5, 7 pages. I was like, all right, I'm good. I'll take the B, it's good. But
yeah.
And then after that, I was like, all right, that was absolutely ridiculous. Like because like in school, you can kind of get away with it. If you're working at certain jobs that like don't require you to be like a strong operator or like a technical person, like you can get away with a procrastination. But like the truth of the matter is, if you want to move up in any profession, or you want to like provide a life to your family that you didn't have, or if you want to take care of your parents or something, like you can't procrastinate, and you need to learn how to prepare your ass off. And like, I'm still in the season of life where I'm learning how to get better with my preparation, how to get better with my efficiency, managing my energy a little bit more quickly. But dude, that is like, if there's anything, because I was always like, when I was younger, anytime an adult would tell me like, oh, don't try shortcuts, I would be the dumbass that would be like, oh, the shortcuts didn't work for you, I'm going to try, like, I'm smart, I can figure out the shortcuts.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no shortcut for hard work and preparation.
No, not at all, man. And I can relate to the procrastination. I did it even up to community college. I would do it sometimes. I knew in community college, like when I went there, I had really good grades in high school, but like I went to community college and I'm like, oh, I thought I could just whatever, I could coast. And like a lot of times I really could, but like I would wait until like the last minute to do assignments. I'd be at like 3:00 in the morning, have a morning class, and I'd be typing up like a paper for something. You know what I mean? And I would get it done, but I'm like, why am I procrastinating? Like it's like I'm putting this off, and it's like, see, if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have been stressing last minute. Like it's just like, why did I do that? Like to stress. And I probably could have got a B when I probably could have got an A if I would have just done it right. You know what I mean? Or just did not procrastinate it. But you're absolutely right that like there are jobs where you might be able to get away with it. But if you're trying to like level up, make really good money, like say you're in a career where you're trying to make really good money, that procrastination, it's just not going to fly. If you're trying to obviously start your own business, like you said, bring that money into your family, take care of your family, as a man, your wife, your kids, your parents, whatever, you can't procrastinate, right? You have to find coping mechanisms to deal with that, to be able to get through that and push through it, because it's something I've definitely struggled with a lot in my life too, man. And I had like ADHD as a kid, and I still sometimes feel those tendencies even as an adult. Like adult ADHD. And I can tell you, working from home can be tough sometimes because you got the distractions. And my boss, like she used to be like a micromanaging type, even though I'd be getting my work done. And now, we had a conversation. So she doesn't really micromanage me like that. So it's like I could, if I wanted to, have like all the distractions on me. And it's like I think for me, having organization, having my calendar set up, having different types of organization, it really helps me a lot because if I don't have that organization, it can be, I feel like that can lead me to getting distracted, which could lead me to also procrastinate.
I agree, man. I live and die by my calendar. I have like I train myself like, you know, kind of one of Pavlov's dogs where I just have like bells and whistles going off throughout the day to remind me it's like, okay, you know, it's this time you have this appointment. It's this time you have this meeting. You have to call this person. You have to do this report. And like, that's what's helped me. Again, I know it's not going to work for everyone. I talked to Joel about like trying to do stuff like that too. He's like, yeah, no, that ain't me. But yeah, dude, that's like you said, you just got to figure out your process and your systems. And
Yep.
It just makes a world of difference. But there's something that I've been learning recently that if I don't build in like time to have fun or like relax into my schedule, I can be very consistent with like just go, like, you know, working, going to the gym, trying to do personal projects. And then if I don't build in like time to have fun, then I burn out really quickly. And then it can like take a couple days to like even a couple months to like get back on the wagon and like really start executing at the level that I know I can. So it's just like, it's a double-edged sword, man, living and dying by the calendar.
Definitely, man. It's like there's pluses and minuses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's pros and cons to it, you know. That's why I say, like, I agree with you. I'm very much the same way. I'll find myself if I'm not reaching out to somebody or having some type of connect, because like I work from home, so it's like I can get very much to going to the gym, you know, working from home, working on my podcast, working on like my real estate stuff on the side, like whatever it is. Like it's like I can get myself caught up in just like work mode. But if I realize like that actually eventually will put me in like a low mood where I'll kind of feel a little bit depressed because I don't have any like super like human connection in my life. So it's like that's why I try to stay. People will say that like you're so good at like reaching out and stuff. It's like I do it because I feel like I need to have that connection, whether it's a family member or a friend or, you know what I mean? It's just having that connection. It brings like, it makes my life feel like, it makes me feel like more human. Like I was like, I don't want to feel like a robot where I'm just so, it's good to lock in, but it's also good to have that time to do something you enjoy, talk to somebody, like make sure that you break up your day. So
that's something like to tie it back into like the woods and like nature a little bit. Like that's why like walking through Pennypack always like just kind of felt like church to me. It's like, you know, I want there like to just like find peace and some solitude, but like nature doesn't rush at all, and yet everything still happens. And so it's like when I was in my, you know, I'm 32 now, but when I was in my 20s, I just like, you know, just really thought like, oh yeah, the hustle culture is the way to do it. And like, yeah, I don't care if I am only sleeping like 4 to 6 hours a night. Like, you know, I just need to commit to like 18 hours a day to just like really like work towards the goals and get everything done. And it's like, yeah, that's good. That's good for a period. And certain people can do it better than others. But for me, like, I just was miserable. I was not healthy. I, you know, just burn out extremely quickly. And so I think like, yeah, while it is great to hustle and like go through these sprints of like, yeah, sometimes you are going to have to work harder than other times. Just like the human animal wasn't really meant to just be going like that nonstop for so long.
Right.
I know a lot of people will disagree with me about that, but yeah, I just want to remind people like, you know, it's okay to take care of yourself.
Yeah, no, 100%. We live in like a culture where it's like everybody's on the go all the time and hustling. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with hustling and, you know, building a sustainable income for you, your family, being able to grind and achieve goals. I think that's very, very important. But it's like finding that balance, I think, is important. And I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect balance. Right. I don't think there's a such thing as like a perfect balance. You know, some weeks might be crazier than others, but just making sure that you factor in at some point that time for you, like it's important. because me and you, like I operate very similarly like that. Like I need at least a little bit of time, like to me, and it helps me recharge and refresh I can be my best self when I have that time. Like everybody's different. I know a guy for 5 years, he was working and going to the gym 100 plus hours on his real estate business. He's a multimillionaire now. It's like, but I'm like, that's great. But everybody like isn't wired like that. It's not an excuse. It's just everybody's not wired like that. I give him mad props. My buddy, his name's Joe too. I went to high school with him, but I mean, the guy's successful as hell now, but it's like, not everybody's wired to work.
Yeah.
It sounds great, working 100 plus hours. Like it was for his business. He wasn't working for someone else, but like, okay, it sounds great on paper, but not everybody's.
Yeah, the multimillionaire does sound great on paper, but then you like, you look at like how many social events did he have to miss?
Yes.
How many things did he have to sacrifice? And it is really respectable to build a business, because like I think it's like 99% of businesses never reach that $1 million mark. So it's like that's really dope that your buddy was able to do it. But anything worth doing is going to take like just big sacrifices, and you need to identify what things that you're willing to sacrifice. It's like, if you are willing to sacrifice spending time with the family or with friends, or your health, or sacrificing your sleep for a little bit, or then it might not be in it for you to have these like multi-billion dollar aspirations, if you know that, which like I think a lot of people are not realistic with themselves.
Right.
It's like, if you're like, you can't be crying over not getting the results that you didn't put the work in for.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. It's a double-edged sword. Like it's you have to really figure out what matters to you and then prioritize that. My mentor always says that. He's like, because he's a millionaire too, and he's just like I did it like over time. He's like, but I also spend time with my family. So he's like, it's possible to do both. He's like, it's just understanding that you're running your own race. Like, don't think because someone else can become a millionaire in 5 years, oh, I need to do it like right now. He's like, people can become millionaires passively through like building money and whatever, real estate investment, like
just let it compound out over 20-30 years, and by the time you're 50 or 60 you'll hit it.
Exactly. Everybody runs their own race, and that's the thing. I feel like everybody's in this comparative mode with social media and stuff. They see like, oh, this influencer's got this, that. It's like people like, but that's the thing. It's like most of the time what you see on social media, number one, is like a highlight reel. You don't really see what's going on behind the scenes. And number two, it's like those people aren't always as happy as they project either. It's you have to really figure out what matters for you and prioritize that. And it's like you said, back to your point, where some people have to work harder than others for things. Look at we were talking right before the show, David Goggins. Joel, I know, is a big fan of David Goggins too. But David Goggins, like, even said in school, he had to work 10 times harder than anybody else. Like, he was not a smart kid. He had to like study in. Like, people told him, you'll never become a Navy SEAL, dude. Like, he grew up in an area where like people were racist. Like, he dealt with a lot of stuff, but he had to work 10, 20 times harder than everybody else to do it. And he still did it, but it was like, that was a priority. It's like, and the double-edged sword part of it is some people want to work to the point where they burn themselves out, and then there's other people that they'll have aspirations to do big things, but then they'll work a 9 to 5, they'll come home and they'll just watch Netflix like all night, or something like that, or just not put in the work on the side. So it's like, you got to figure out what your priorities are. If you're content with doing that, there's nothing wrong with that. But understand like what truly matters to you in your heart is very important, because like, if you want bigger things and you sit there and don't go after them, you're going to feel miserable like your whole life. So.
Yeah, that's something I try to think about. It's like, okay, like if I fast forward to 80-year-old Joe, what will I regret the most if I don't do?
Right.
And then like I had the life is super, super weird, man. I dated this girl like in between like it was the summer going into college and then like my first year of college. She was from Southern California, and then like we were planning on staying together, and when I graduated school I was going to move to Southern California. And then we didn't last in college, but then just how life oddly happens. Like I do my internship through Penn State. I get this opportunity to work for the software company out in California. And, I graduate a couple years later and I end up staying 15 minutes away in Southern California where like me and that ex were planning on going to. And thankfully I didn't run into her out there. Wish her the best, but like,
Yeah.
no love lost. But it's just like really weird. But that whole thing, I bring it up just because like, what was really like impactful for that relationship for me is like she did open my eyes up to the world as being way bigger than Northeast Philly. And so I think without that opportunity, I never would have made it to Oklahoma. And then like I never would have, found my fiance and like who's about to be the wife. And we're starting to discuss family planning and stuff. So like it's just like really weird how life needs to happen in a certain way for you to eventually get to where you want to be. And it's like even from like an early age, like I always knew that I wanted to have a family, like really close with my brother and my parents, my extended family. So it's just like, man, I can't wait to grow up and like have my own family, my own kids running around. Like, my kids can be hanging out with my brother's kids. So yeah, it's just like, people like to rush a lot of things, and it's taken me a while to understand this, but like the right things are going to happen at the right time. You just have to be patient, prepare, try to like do your best, like you said, to figure out like what you want, like what's in your heart, what's your heart telling you to do. And like if you want to go after something, go pursue it. Because you don't want to wake up when you're 80 years old one day and look back at life and man, I hated everything that I did. I lived a life that, my parents told me to live, or, my wife told me to live, or I was afraid to go do something because of what my friends might think.
Yeah.
Like, I love my friends, but they ain't going to hold me back from doing what I want to do.
Right. And that's important because a lot of people will let their friends do that. But yeah, man, it's like that. Like on your deathbed, it's like, what are you going to remember? What are you going to remember? You're going to remember, or what regrets are you going to have? It's like, if your goal was to, you wanted to, and this is ideal, I think for pretty much everybody, is you want to leave a legacy, and that legacy can be in the career, it can be with your family. It's like, but you want to leave some type of legacy where you're like remembered, you know what I mean? So yeah, you really have to look internally and be like, so if I'm on my deathbed, what are the things I'm going to regret not doing? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be buying a certain thing or like purchasing something that's specific. It's going to be, what impact did you have? And like, what did you do? And on your deathbed, it's going to seem so silly if like you just let, you procrastinated or you let your fears get the better of you on certain things, because at that point, it's not going to, it's going to be too late. So literally the topic of the podcast I put here was like a legacy. So yeah, you want to that's the thing, you want to have no regrets, when you get to that point. So
or at least try to minimize them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like I grew up playing a ton of video games, and I always loved the idea of like leveling up the character.
Yeah.
So like I try to. It's going to sound cheesy. I'm a hella cheesy dude. So like I like trying to live my life like a video game somehow. It's like, okay, how can I level up in certain areas? And which is why like I force myself to like learn how to read, and like why I'm trying to read so much is because like you could read a biography of someone that took 60 years to figure out something that you can read and learn in 4 hours. So I'm just like always trying to like slowly improve myself. Like the law of incremental gains, just get 1% better every day. By the end of the year, you'll be like 37 times better. But I am perfect. I mess up constantly. I fail constantly. But I think it's okay to fail. And I think more people need to talk about that failure and the pursuit of the things that they want to, because, a lot of people are afraid to fail a class in school, to get fired, to have their heart broken, to fail at a business. I've experienced all of those things. It's like, yeah, you don't die at the end of those things. It might feel like it for a little bit, but like you said it earlier, you can also find some extremely valuable lessons from those failures if you just give yourself the opportunity to fail. And I feel like if people go through enough failures, like some calculated failures, it'll help you get to where you want to be in life like way quicker than if you were just trying to be calculated and like wait until every little thing is perfect. Like, don't let perfect be the enemy, or don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Or maybe I'm saying that backwards.
Yeah, like I think you're saying it right. Yeah, like don't let perfect be the enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you just gotta get started at something, man. Like I don't know. I think the world needs more people that just like love what they do.
Yeah.
And because when you get around people that love what they do, it's like it's very clear their energy is different, their vibe is different, the way they carry themselves is different, and like that can really translate into other people, and like it'll have like a ripple effect in the community that you're not even aware that it may carry. So I would just love to see like more people doing what they love, man, and like what's written on their heart to do.
Likewise, yeah, because there'll be more people would be less miserable if they did what they love to do. You know, you get every single day with a purpose.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're happy to wake up. Not everybody's just looking for the weekend, right? You know, not Monday through Friday. And it's like, I want to get to a point, like, you know, like in my life, I still like, I enjoy my weekends and stuff, but it's like, I want to be at a point in my life where it's like, it's a Monday and I'm like, I love, like, I'm getting up and I'm like, I love, you know, what I'm doing, like, you know what I mean? But you're right, man. Like, I feel like the quicker you learn those lessons, the more you'll be able to adapt in life. See, if we procrastinate because of fear and we don't learn those lessons early on, it's time wasted, because we could have learned those lessons earlier by, you know, embracing that failure. You know, I've learned that myself. Like, you know, I could have wasted time like doing something. Like, if I would have just learned this lesson or went through this failure before, I could have learned this lesson quicker. And it's, you know, so I resonate with that for sure. And to go back to your point too, in the timing of everything, God's divine timing is perfect. Ours isn't. So it's like, you know, it's, I believe in God. So it's, you know, it's just, you know, everybody's timeline is going to be different, but control. I always try to tell people this too, like, because this is something I really had to learn. Control what you can control, and just, you know, the external is going to work out the way it needs to work out. You know, people in your life that are supposed to be in your life will be in your life, and what is meant for you will be. That's how I see it. It's like, just control what you can control and leave the rest, because there's no sense dwelling on things you can't control.
Absolutely. And I think the easiest way to see that is like how people interact with traffic and road rage. So it's like, I know I'm a little different now because I don't have as much traffic as y'all got in Philly. But it was wild. Like the first time I went back to Philly after living in Tulsa, and it was like, you know, in the first year in Tulsa, I think I saw 2 bouts of road rage, and it's just like people flipping someone off or honking at them, you know. And just from the drive from Philly International up to the Northeast to my parents' house, I think I saw like 6 people in Philly like about to, you know, start fighting each other. And it's like, so and when I first started driving when I was younger, I used to get a little bit of road rage too. It's like, oh, you know, this guy just cut me off. Like, what are you doing? You know, with some more colorful language, obviously. But I just started telling myself it's so stupid, but it really helped me, like, to your point of realizing what you can control. It's like, all right, I don't need to be reacting this way. So like, if anyone cut me off, I just think, okay, you know, maybe they just got some bad news. They got to get to somewhere. They need to go to a hospital, or maybe they just got to really take a crap. It's like, all right, I ain't going to be mad at someone if like they're going to rush to see a loved one, or they got to run to the bathroom. They're about to, you know, duty in their drawers. So it's like, okay, now I know how to control not freaking out behind the wheel. That's one less thing I got to worry about.
100%. I resonate with that too, man. It's I still have to catch myself sometimes, man. It's just like, you know, I'm having a great day, and I'm like, even today, I went to Pennyfac like this morning to get some miles, and I'm coming back, and I had like two different cars cut me off, and I'm just like thinking in my head, I didn't let it get to me today, but I'm like, you know what, I'm having a great day so far. I'm like, I can't let people, you know, try to disrupt my energy. But sometimes I'm not as good as others. It's something I definitely try to work on. I'm definitely not perfect, but it's Yeah, no, it's more like, I think sometimes if somebody cuts me off, it's like more like pride and ego. Like, oh, I'm gonna race up to this person. It's like I used to do that a lot. And I'm just like, I had to catch myself like, why am I doing this? Like what? Because
Yeah.
it's like it's a excuse my language, but a dick swing contest. Like what I have
Yeah.
to, prove something to this person who's never even met me before that I don't even know. And it's like, we're gonna go on about our own days and go in our own directions. It's like, for what? Like it's not worth it.
Yeah, man. And one of my old colleagues told me, it's like, don't let a bad 5 minutes turn into a bad day.
Right.
It's like if you had a bad issue. Now, I mean, I know, especially in Philly, like when it's like, if it's a full moon, there's just like all the bad drivers are out, and it seems like, if one or two people cut you out, it seems like the whole city is about like they're targeted in on your car. It's like, all right, how can we mess with you today? But yeah, man, that's where the patience, the faith, and the perseverance also comes in. It's like you can't let them ruin the day.
Exactly.
As hard as it is, and it is hard sometimes. It is very, very hard sometimes.
Yeah, or sometimes I feel like I'm in a rush to be somewhere, but then I have to think to myself, well, why am I in a rush to be there? It's like I'm in a rush to be there because I didn't prepare adequately time-wise to be there. So I have to, that's something that I could have controlled, but I didn't control. So now I'm sitting here in a situation where I can't control. So it's like just taking that step back and just trying to, and in the moment it can be hard sometimes. I understand, believe me, but it's like just reflecting, because I've called myself after and I'm like, why did I do, you know what I mean? I had to like think, and I'm like, okay, well now I want to try to be better next time. We're all human beings, we're all flawed, it's by nature, there's no such thing as perfect. So just like you said, taking lessons from it and just trying to be better the next time. That's all you can do.
Yeah, man, that's it. Just a little bit better every day. Or, even if you're just like a little bit more self-aware, it's like, all right, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm tired, like I know if I don't sleep that well, I know I'm going to be more irritable. So it's like I'll be way more easily triggered at work or something. And it's like, I even start telling my team that. I'm like, hey, like, I didn't have a good night's sleep last night. I'm probably going to mess some stuff up today. So just like be on the lookout. If I do something and if it seems off or wrong, give me a heads up. Like, let me know that feedback so that because sometimes it's just out of your control. It's like I accidentally took a nap after work when I shouldn't have, and now I'm up at 3 a.m. even though I got to be at work at 8.
Yep, and it can just throw you off. Like, yep, I've yeah, man, it's for sure. It's like, but that's the thing. It's like just being able to take that feedback, and that's important. That's, there's some people that can't, but you try to, they can't take constructive feedback, or, so I'm like that. I'd rather hear it. I'd rather just be like, hey, you're messing up here. Like, just, let me know. Keep it real.
Well, yeah, because I would rather be told like, you're messing up in like this area or these few areas, and it's like really negatively impacting me and like what I'm trying to do. It's like I would rather someone pull me aside to like tell me from Jump Street instead of like letting it fester. If I'm doing something that's like, if I'm working with someone, if I'm doing something that like they can't stand, but like they don't tell me, and then 6 months later they just blow up. It's like, oh, you're always like this. You're always doing this. Like, yo, dang, like you could have told me 6 months ago, and I could have corrected that behavior.
Yep. And this is important in career, but this is also important in relationships too, with partners too. People need to speak up for their needs too. It's very important, because it's like, if say like your partner, like you're doing something, or they do something that annoys you. I'll just put it from my own perspective, like, and you don't speak up and say anything about it. You can't really get pissed off and blow up at them, and you didn't speak up or talk to them or tell them, you know what I mean? And likewise, but I've had, yeah, for sure. Like eventually you're just going to blow up about it. But so it's like, it's better just to speak up and say something. And likewise, I'd rather hear it too. So that way I can understand and know, because we're not mind readers.
Yeah, dude. And communication is key. Like if that's the one skill people can just like continuously work on, just communicate better, more effectively. And I think a big thing around communication is just like being willing to listen more to the person you're speaking with, opposed to just like waiting for that opportunity to say the next thing. It's just been super helpful. My girl, I love her. She's super patient with me, and it's the only relationship I've been in that like we have never fought, and it's like we've had very difficult conversations, but it's like we know how to communicate to each other. It's like
Right.
we know like what buttons to not push to where like neither one of us are really like blow up type of people anyway, but so that's helpful. But I do stuff all the time. Like I don't clean the house as much as I should. I leave my socks around everywhere, because I'm out walking a lot. My feet get hot, and she doesn't like that. But there's some things that like she annoys me with too. But like we communicate that with each other, and
Right.
and then, like we can poke fun at each other from it because like we know it's truthful, but we know we can have the comedic banner back and forth to where it's like not that deep.
Yeah. No, it's so important, man. It's one of those skills that you're always going to be working on for sure. Yeah, exactly. It's, conflict, being able to communicate, in life in general, but also, with a partner for sure. Because if you're intending to marry that person, you're going to be with them for the rest of your life. So it's like you have to, know how to effectively communicate without calling each other out calling each other out in their own names. You know what I mean? Like by getting to a point where you get there. It's just conflict resolution. It's important because you're going to have conflicts. You're not going to agree on everything. Anyone I know that's been married, they say marriage is tough. You get through trials and tribulations, but you grow stronger as you get through those things together.
Sure.
And knowing how to effectively communicate with one another is so critical. So critical. Your marriage isn't going to last without it.
Right. And if you're afraid to tell your partner something because you're not sure how they're going to react, so you can't be doing that stuff. So if you have to have a difficult conversation, it's like you need to make the space and make that person aware. It's like, hey, we got to talk about something, and it might not be an easy conversation, but like, I care about you, you care about me. We'll figure this out together.
Yep, exactly. It's like, and the right person isn't going to run when you tell them something that you have a hard conversation with. The right person's not going to walk out of your life.
Right.
When you have a hard conversation. So,
and if they do, then they weren't the right person.
Exactly.
It'll still hurt, but it's like it's better to have that experience than to end up with the wrong person for the rest of your life, which has been my greatest fear. It's like, having a kid with the wrong person. It's like I've seen too many people do that, and that can just like really derail the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. It's it could be super challenging. It's like especially if both people can't communicate or you say like you're trying to communicate and the other person is just toxic, or it's like whatever. It becomes a problem. You can do everything you can, but like it's just And there's people, unfortunately, that are married too, that are in just miserable marriage where they're not happy and they're just going with the flow of everyday life or trying to keep up appearances. And it's like, you don't ever want to do that. You only live once. You only get this life once. So make the most of the time that you have here. It's like, you can't spend your whole entire life miserable.
Yeah. You gotta do whatever works for you to make yourself happy. Or just like becoming like a certain level of yourself to where your happiness is then a byproduct of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. It's like you build a life for yourself that you don't necessarily need a vacation from. You're doing work that like fulfills you with passion and joy. You're working on hard problems. You're working with like interesting people. You're helping a community that you want to help support and take care of. Or whatever else like does for you. Like some people, like I got one buddy who's a chef that this dude is like Kobe Bryant level obsessed, like eat, breathes, sleeps 16 hours a day cooking. If he's not cooking, he's watching a cooking video. If he's not watching a video, he's straight up reading a cookbook or like trying out other recipes or going to eat other people's food. So it's like, sometimes I wish I had that level of obsession, but that's not me, and that works for him. But everyone's got their own thing, and if you don't know what your thing is yet, like never stop trying to find it.
Yep. Do a little soul search. Take some time to really figure out the inner you and figure out who you are. Like ask yourself, find out who you are as a person, what your value. That's too. Just looking at what your values are. Like, what do you value? If you could have anything in the world, like, what type in terms of internal things, like what would it be? Like, what do you value the most? And that's something my mentor would always tell me. Just like look at like the things that you value the most, and screw everything else. Like it's like you just have to, you know what I mean? Like don't try to follow a certain lifestyle because other people are doing it, or this person's doing this, so I got to do that. Or don't ever try to keep like compare. Everybody runs their own race, and everybody just understand what your values are and what matters to you. So that's great. He's probably doing something he absolutely loves. Like he loves doing that, your buddy. So it's like, yeah, he feels fulfilled every single day, I'm sure, because he's doing something he loves to do. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, he even named his cats after some Japanese dishes. So
hey, man, that's him. That's uniquely him.
It's awesome. It's wonderful to see. It's just like, being around the people. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry for just repeating it again, but just like,
you're fine.
Just being around people that love what they do. It's just like, it's just super cool to see, man.
Yep, exactly. I like when you're around people that feel fulfilled and they truly love what they do, that wears off on you too. They do say you're the average of the people you spend your time with. So it's, if you spend time with people that feel fulfilled and happy in their life, that's going to rub off on you too.
Yeah.
So
really well, man.
For sure. I feel like there's so many things we could definitely talk about, man. So we're like an hour and like almost 20 minutes in. So I guess we can probably get ready to wrap up. But I would definitely love to have you come back, man. And we can definitely like talk more, even if it's like me and you, or me, you, and Joel. We get like an episode on here, man, because I feel like I felt like this was gonna happen. We were just gonna free flow it. Yeah. There's so many things we could talk about.
For sure. And I'm definitely down to come back on. Appreciate that. If Joel hops on too, it's going to be a long conversation.
It's going to be long. It's probably
going to be a long conversation. Because me and him, we get going, dude. And he even told, I talked to him the other day, and he's like, hey, before we get into it, he's like, I got 15 minutes. It's like, okay, cool. We got to like 4:50 mark. I was like, yeah, we got 10 seconds. I was like, have a good rest of your day. And then he goes into like 2 more stories, and I go into another story, and it's like, all right. So yeah, yeah, man. You like talking to people. You can talk about several different things.
Absolutely. So yeah, if we do an episode like that, man, we'll definitely make sure we have the time carved out so we can talk, man. But yeah, I've had some long episodes on here before. I had one that was like 2.5 hours, nearly like 3. But it's like, yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's just like, hey, man, it just flows as long as everybody has the time to do it. You know what I mean? It's if someone can take something from it, like, hey, that's what I love about this.
Absolutely.
So it's, but yeah, brother, I just want to say, appreciate you coming to share your story. We had some good viewers in here. Not any comments on YouTube. We did have a couple on Facebook. My guy Fran commented in. He said, "What's up, guys? What's up, Fran? Thanks for tuning in, man." He said, "Valuable content. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for tuning in, my guy." And I can see we have some people on YouTube, but nobody commented in. That's all good though. Guys, even if you're watching on the because I know not everybody can watch live, even if you're watching like outside of the live stream, still comment. I'll still respond to your comments and stuff like that. I know a lot of people will comment sometimes after the stream has ended on YouTube. But Joe, I appreciate you carving out the time, man. We'll definitely have you back on, whether it's just me and you, or if Joel comes on too. And this is my buddy Mario. He commented and he said, "Good show. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, man."
Yeah, Steve, appreciate your time, man, having me on, and everyone who tunes in for the whole thing or even a little bit. Appreciate y'all listening, and I look forward to being back on, man.
Yeah, appreciate that, my brother. Have a great weekend, man. We'll definitely be in touch. And again, thank you, man. Have a great night. All right.
Thanks, man. You too. Take care.
Take care.